If you take your seats, I got quorum. Councillor LeBlanc, we are back to the main motion. You still have some minutes left.
Thank you. Through the chair, assume option 4 passes. We send you back to the drawing board to find a new location. Through the chair, how long do you, administration, estimate it will be before you'll have another recommended location for us?
Ms. Anderson?
Through you, Mayor Masters, well, it took us 3+ years to get this one, so I wouldn't be able to actually give a definitive answer on when that would be. And the reason that I had put in the report that option 4 wasn't administration's preferred recommendation is because we don't believe that we will come up with an option that's better than this one.
Thank you. Through the chair, our last city council meeting is on October 9th. Can you undertake to have a recommendation to us by October 9th?
Through you, Mayor Masters, by October 9th, we would be able to tell you whether or not we were able to find something that meets the criteria that council is looking for that I'm not entirely clear on.
Thank you. I'll maybe flip it. Is it fair to say if option 4 passes, administration is not confident that these 11 people can vote on this location of a permanent emergency shelter?
Through you, Mayor Masters, I think, well, I'm confident that these 11 can vote. I think that I'm not confident that there would ever be a criteria where it would be like, this is the perfect location.
Thank you. So I understand that to mean, and I'm happy to be corrected, which is that if we move option 4 today, this council will not vote on the location of a proposed emergency shelter before the election. I want to ask about the other timeline looming to my mind, which is next summer, the New Beginnings is scheduled to close at the Nest. So we need 55 spaces for next summer. My question is, how much time do we have to decide where a permanent location will be in order to be up and operational by next June when New Beginnings shuts down?
Through you, Mayor Masters, I'll start and then pass it off to someone with more expertise, which is up there. I would say that until, frankly, we know what the new space would be, we can't provide timelines. One of the things that we loved about the building that we found was that we didn't have to do any changes to zoning and that type of thing. And so I would say my deep concern is that if we have not found a place in the next few months, we'll be facing July 2025 without having a space to house the 55 residents that will no longer be at the Nest. And I don't know, is there additional information that you want to add?
Through the chair, so the renovation timeline on this particular building that I've been given by facilities in order to go through our procurement process, the design, drawings, construction, we're going to be close to the June 25th, or pardon me, the June 25 deadline of when the Nest would shut down. So what I'm saying is that right now, if we were to move forward with this particular location, the work that's required would be done in time. Beyond that, it would be very difficult to say, depending on the amount of renovations, the type of building, so on and so forth.
Thank you. I want to raise several concerns that some of the delegates raised. One of those is the location is inappropriate because Albert Street is busy and people are likely to get hit. I have 2 questions. One, does administration have a response to that? And 2 is, can anything in environmental or architectural design mitigate that risk? Through the chair.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor? Go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Masters. Yes, there are a number of things you can do to mitigate that. They are design elements as well that help to deal with the environment around the area, and there are definitely mitigation steps that you can take all around the facility and also the surrounding block areas.
One of the concerns we heard is these folks will sort of be discharged, be kicked out of the building at some time in the morning, 7 a.m., 55 vulnerable people go on the street because they have to. I want to ask administration to respond to that. Is that likely to come up in this location or under this model?
Mr. Slater.
Mr. Slater?
Through you, Mayor Masters, no. New Beginnings Shelter doesn't do a discharge in the morning, and they at times recommend that their folks stay on site, and there are services there throughout the day.
Thank you. If this goes through, will the proposed location have any sort of outdoor space, safe outdoor space at which the residents can hang out during the day? Through the chair.
Mayor Masters. Yes, the intent would be to have a space that that would be secured and would be designed in a sense that it would help to provide a relaxing and calming environment, and also provide some touchstones to nature, that kind of thing. So there'd be a lot of thought put into that area to make sure that it not only provides some outdoor space, but also allows them for a sense of feeling safe and secure in that location.
Thank you. I heard a suggestion that the busy location of the address will be an indignity, will cause residents living there to suffer an indignity, and that they're sort of on display. Wonder, is administration respond to that, and if there's any architectural things to respond to that through the
Mr.
chair?
Mayor?
Yes, through you, Mayor Masters. The intent is to very much bring that into consideration. You're not only thinking about the considerations internally, but also the environment outside in the surrounding areas. So you're looking very, very much at providing a sense of dignity throughout the process, and it's also something that serves the neighborhood well. If you design a facility that treats people with dignity, that means you're paying attention to design elements that will not only provide safety for those involved within the facility, but the goal is also to provide a level of safety to the people in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Can you speak a bit more about what those design elements would be that would achieve those goals? Through the chair.
Yes, through you, Mayor Masters. There are a number of things. Outdoor spaces for sure is one of them, but also where you place the entrance, everything from the size of the entrance, where it's positioned, how it's designed. You're looking at all the elements because they all are touchstones in terms of our natural responses as human beings. So you look at all of those things. So you would look at, is it best to put the main entrance to the side? Is it to the back somehow? Would it be through an area that is screened from the rest of the neighborhood? So you're looking at all those sorts of elements that are not only providing sort of good environmental designs, but you're also considering things such as SEPTED principles so that it's safe for everyone that's involved.
Thank you. Finally, we heard some suggestion that placing the shelter on this high-traffic location is something like airing our dirty laundry a bit. Why are we demonstrating the extent of our homelessness problem at a busy intersection? I wonder if there's any response to that from administration. One, whether that's justified, and two, whether we can mitigate that perspective.
Yes, through you, Mayor Masters. I think it's a great opportunity for the city and administration to show that there is a right way to do that. And by making good considerations and good design decision in terms of how it interacts with, say, Albert Street and all the surrounding areas, you're always looking at ways that you can take and make the space, number one, feel appropriate for the neighborhood, but also make sure that it feels like it is part of the environment. So you're putting all of those components together, and I think it's an opportunity to maybe to be a bit of a forerunner in terms of doing proper shelter design to make sure that that it's meeting the needs not only of the people in the program, but also in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Let's say option 4 fails and we go with option 1, which is to build it here. In the next year, until this is built and operationalized, what's the city's plan to proactively be a good neighbor? And in particular, the engagement strategy with the folks living in one of the delegates' buildings and with members of the warehouse business improvement district. So what's our plan to proactively engage to sort of bring people along on this idea?
Through you, Mayor Masters, yeah, our communications team has begun work on a robust plan. Certainly, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be doing, purposeful engagement with community, with business, with residents. I would say that engagement and information sharing will certainly be, obviously be reciprocal, and we'll want to hear from community and work with partners who will be operating the space. We've already had commitment from our Regina Street team, RPS, Fire, and other partners that would attend with us to be part of those discussions as well. I wouldn't see this as being a one-off. I would see it as being an ongoing communication throughout the year.
Thank you. We've talked a lot about what's bad about this space. What's good about this space, through the chair? This location.
Through the chair, so primarily it's set back from the main street. It has a large parking lot out front. It's 10,000 square feet, roughly 98 something. It's all on one level. It's flat. It has high ceilings. It has large windows. It's a newer building, so we don't have the concerns that we would have in a lot of the older buildings we looked at, whether due to size or hazardous materials, things like that. The HVAC system is not 100%, but it's closer to supporting what we're doing. So saying that, the renovations are less than what might need to be undertaken in some lesser properties. So the building itself, if we could take it and put it wherever that ideal spot is, would be the perfect building. It provides everything that we've been looking for. It checked off all of the boxes on our list. I think that's the best I can give you.
Thank you. Can I ask for a time check from the chair? How much time is left? Just under a minute. My perspective is we ought to vote no to proposal 4 so that we can vote in favor of option 1 and put it where administration says it ought to be put. Administration has been doing this work for 15, 16 months, and they have come to us with their first suggestion within that time. So that for 2 extra reasons. One is we heard from our chief engineer that, frankly, time is already tight to renovate the building to have this operational by next summer. My view is it needs to be operational by next summer. Delay causes actual prejudice. The second comment is we heard from Ms. Anderson, it is unlikely council would be able to vote on a new proposed location before the election. I think we are the ones who ought to do the voting on this. I think that for 2 primary reasons. One is we're the ones who voted 18 months ago to send them off to look for a new location. So we got us into this undertaking. We ought to finish it. The second is homelessness has been an animating feature of this council term. Camp Marjorie, Camp on our front step, and so on and so forth. It makes sense for us to have it. The third is the new council, assuming we don't all win, the new council is going to have a very hard time voting in their first month or their first quarter on council to put an emergency shelter in what's going to be someone's backyard. We are much better positioned at the end of our term than they will be at the beginning of their term to make this decision, which is needed, justified, but may ultimately be politically unpopular. So my view is we need to do it. Administration has made a recommendation which they're comfortable with. We can all point out flaws, but we can't point to a perfect alternative. We need to do this work. So my suggestion is we vote no on this, then we pass option 1, and I'd seek your support on that path. Thank you.